I think it was really hard to do our proper kind of review. We were playing kind of match play. I mean, I was playing against the number one in Wales.
I enjoyed the variable lies. You know, you were always on an angle.
Yeah.
A toin cost. What's a toin cost?
Is that what I said?
Yeah. But if we want to go and play it back again, I think that does speak volumes of the quality of the golf course.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Episode 71, Burnham Berrow review. So Burnham Berrow hosted us for our Society Ryder Cup weekend, which was a wonderful flying success. And what wonderful hosts they were. We're welcomed, made to feel part of the club, and we even bumped into retired England batter Marcus Trescothick. This is the story of how our day went. Prior to that, I'm going to ask you out there in a listener and watching land to hit like, subscribe, share, anything you can do to help us grow our podcast. It's absolutely free for you, but it's vital for us to get those numbers. We can then grow it for content. We can grow it for production. We can get better and better ideas, content, things out there that are going to keep you interested and you entertained. So that's your bit. Our bit is we'll promise to keep producing good content. Now back to the episode.
Just before we start, Nish, I've just noticed in the intro, I'd noticed it's changed, but I noticed now that it doesn't say every good story has an ending. Have you got a sense that this isn't going to end at some point? Do you think we're not going to do it? Have you lost?
I'm
have you
spooked
lost,
by Skibo, Chris.
That we're gonna be able to do this.
What do you call it? The naivety of youth. So in our first year of existence, it was like, yeah, we'll bash this out. No problem. We've done 18 courses in a year. This is a fucking piece of piss. But yeah, there are some sizable challenges ahead.
There's some serious doubts creeping in, Nish.
Yeah, we're taking people along to that journey, I think, Chris. So, well noticed. That was a subtle little tweak I did. But yeah, anyway, enough of my doubting Thomas impression. Well, this was the first of our Society Ryder Cup weekend. We had 20 golfers there. It was a brilliant weekend, just in general. You can't get 20 guys in a pub not having fun, basically, and chucking a bit of golf, chucking a bit of competition, and it was great. And we couldn't separate the teams. We had to do countbacks and points and all sorts, and it was just amazing.
It was remarkable how close it was after 2 days of golf between 20 people, wasn't it?
Yeah, couldn't have dreamt it any closer, really. Yeah. And our first day was at Burnham Berrow. So the way we'd done it, we wanted the first day to be the big top 100 course that everybody was fresh for. There were no hangovers or anything like that, and excited for. So, yeah, we headed over to Burnham Berrow. Great golf club, quite small and compact in that initial bit, wasn't it, where the clubhouse is and the practice facilities and pro shop.
It's kind of traditional older golf club kind of vibe, wasn't it? It's not kind of big, modern facility. It's definitely that old school clubhouse, which I like. I like that. It's a bit more quaint and feels like a proper golf club that you're going into. So that was
yeah, it was a lovely clubhouse, wasn't it? And it said the size was great actually, because there was a lovely buzz about the place. There were there weren't that many people in there, but it just felt busy quick, which is always nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Especially when there's 20 visitors turn up, you kind of want to blend in a little bit, don't you? Not stick out like a sore thumb, which there's a few places we've been where we might have done, But, everybody sort of was passed over, said hello, you'll enjoy it, and you'll have a great time. I think there was awareness that we were there, and it was a really traditional kind of clubhouse, wasn't it? There were some really old bits in there.
The bit that stood out to me, I think, in terms of that setup is I don't think we've been anywhere where, so it's fairly compact, but like you kind of rock up, you've got the clubhouse there, you've got the putting green right in front of it, you've then got a chipping green just next to that, and then you've got the driving range just kind of next to the pro shop. So within 50 meters of the kind of the main entrance, you've got everything that you need before you go around, which is awesome. I thought really good range, great short game facilities, just all right there next to the clubhouse.
There is one place we've seen that, and that is Dumbarnie, but that is been purpose built to be like that, because that is a tourist course, right? And they've done it so that you don't move around too much. It's not been seen at an old, classic, traditional golf club that's been around for over 100 years.
I mean, normally they just try to find a piece of land somewhere that they can put a range onto, right? But yeah, this is all done really well, and all really compact and kind of.
Yeah, I didn't notice that, Chris. Well, good spot. That's a good little doff of the cap to the design originally, and how they've kind of evolved that. But yeah, it was great. It was actually really nice having everyone. You don't have to really shout anybody over or anything like that. It was
Especially we
we're
had
all
20
sort of
people
here.
to kind of organise. Everyone was within the vicinity of where we should have been.
Yeah, I must say I'll give a big round of applause to Harbs for helping me corral everybody and get everyone together, and we just about managed it, I think, didn't we? But yeah, that clubhouse it's worth spending a bit of time in, and we had a bit of food there before, and it was just a lovely, pleasant place where you can see the practice green, the first tee, and the 18th green, all from that terrace, which was great.
Yeah.
Now, we can't avoid the inconvenient truth about the day. We were looking at the weather. We do weather watch anyway in our top 100 thing because we want to go out and have a good day, don't we? And the weather does play a part in that. Now, the weather forecast for when we were playing, originally it looked all right. It was going to be fine. And then as the week was progressing, it kept changing. And basically, it looked like there was going to be this big, heavy band of rain. The only band of rain over a 3-day period, the day before, the day of, the day after, that was going to hang over Burnham and Berrow pretty much the time that we were playing golf.
Yeah.
Now, it didn't quite start that way. That was all right. We had these. It's by the sea, so things blow over quick, right? So that's fine. But we started off, and the weather was grey but brightening, and it seemed like we might get away with it. I kept speaking to the starter. I think his name was Andy, who was brilliant with us, by the way, knowing what we were doing as a society, all that kind of thing. He was so good with us, like good friendly banter, but the right tone of banter with everyone. And his was like, it'll be fine, you'll be okay. And then the first groups went off.
And then under his breath going, fucking idiots, they're going to get
I know. I've sold you I've sold you up the river here. And then the first groups went off. Me as a captain had to tee off, and then we had to wait half an hour for all the groups to go out. And then, by the time we teed off the last group, it started raining, and it was like just a little bit of light drizzle at that time. And we're like, we can cope with this. This is okay. Didn't really need to put the jacket on. And then suddenly it was like, oh no, okay. This looks like it's not stopping at the minute. So right, let's get the jackets on. So you guys probably would have been, you were lead group, weren't you, Chris? So you probably would have been hole 3, 4 probably when you, or was it even earlier than
maybe
that?
even the second, sort of end of the second, start of the third. I think it started raining at that point.
And it not only was it rain, there was quite a decent wind as well.
It was proper links weather, wasn't it? Wet and windy and pretty cold as well to boot.
Yeah, and we haven't experienced that yet, have we?
No,
all of our journey, we've been quite lucky.
The top 100 gods were looking down on us. Nish. The first round we've not played together, and it basically shat it down for the first 12 holes.
Yeah, there's a lesson to be learned here. I think we must play these courses together to keep our run of luck going. Because spoiler alert, actually isn't a spoiler alert because we've already, the Wallacey episode has already gone out, and the Wallacey episode, if you watch it, it's glorious sunshine. It's windy, but we will take that any day of the week. So yeah, maybe there is some merit in that. So yeah, we obviously the weather wasn't kind to us. Now, we've never had this before, and I've written in my show notes that we need to do a bit of a weather caveat for our review.
Yeah, I think I think it was really hard to do our proper kind of review, get our real review hats on, because we were playing kind of match play. I mean, I was playing against the number 1 in Wales, so that didn't help.
Yeah, let's add that in. Now we had Toby, who's been on the podcast, but Toby Hunt is the number 1 ranked golfer in Wales, and I put you up against him,
which I was really looking forward to actually, and thoroughly enjoyed. It was absolutely awesome playing with Toby. Like he was incredible to watch around there. I mean, it was horrendous weather. The worst weather you could possibly hope for around a links course. And I think he was like 1 under through the first 9. And he was unbelievable to watch. Unbelievable.
And he doesn't like links golf as
No.
well. That's the other thing. So
Yeah,
in
no.
amongst all of that, it's like 1 under.
But
through
yeah,
9
he
holes.
literally didn't hit a shot, not exactly where he intended it to until I think like the 15th. It was unbelievable to watch.
That's the difference, isn't it? There you
Great
go.
guy to boot as well. So yeah,
He was a top guy. Thanks to Toby for coming.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
really appreciated that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we got for me, it rained until hole 7, I think. Hole 7.
Yeah.
I got, and you can see it on my scorecard, which is unbelievable. Really, like I was like 6, 8, 8, 8, 6, 8,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
And then get to hole 7, suddenly you're like, I par it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, and then that set me on a good run.
Yeah, but it was just one of those days where you literally all you can think about is getting your head down and try to keep everything dry for the first 10 holes for us. So yeah, I didn't really feel like I took the front 9 in properly. I don't think so. It'd be good to go back and kind of experience that a little bit again.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there, Chris. And I suppose because we weren't playing together either, we couldn't almost go, right, have a look up.
Yeah,
Like, let's
and
think
we'll
about
often do
and-
that, won't we? We'll be stood on a tee and we'll just be stood there and we'll have a little chat about kind of either the hole we've just played or the hole we're about to play. Whereas it was, just kind of chatting to other partners, just more generally. So yeah, I feel like it was a difficult review, I think, as much as anything.
Yeah, I think so. So we'll give the caveat. It's we really enjoyed it still. Like let's not
absolutely,
let's not say we're going to absolutely pan Burnham Berrow, because we're not. That's not what we're going to do.
Yeah.
There is just going to be a back 9 slant to this over a front 9 slant, and Burnham Berrow, of course, firstly forgive us for that. If there are holes in there that are real highlights in that front 9, we're really sorry. We're probably going to miss them. But the wider issue with this is, and as we are sat right now, the rankings have just been updated, and there's been a lot of debate about that. And you kind of do go like, if a reviewer turns up and the weather's terrible, like we've struggled to do reviews and ratings and rankings anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how you do that when the weather's inclement and you're kind of like, like you say, you can't even get your head up, can you? And sometimes we go like, you hit your ball, you look where it's gone. It's all right, I've got a sight of where it is.
Yeah.
And you're just marching with your hood down.
You're probably almost better just walking the course rather than trying to play golf. I think at that point when it's such bad conditions, like.
That's a great idea. Play imaginary golf.
Yeah.
Just go right down the middle.
18 under par there, birdie on every hole.
This is how I would hit it right here, and I'd put it right there. And yeah, absolutely brilliant. So look, sorry, we don't wish to talk too much about that, but there is that weather caveat to what we're going to talk about. So being ranked 62 as a golf course on our list, it's hovering around clubs and courses such as Gullane number 1, which we've played.
Yeah.
Hankley Common is 58, obviously, which we've played, and both of those are individually are in one of our top 5 lists.
Yep.
So, it's in there. It's in a meaty chunk of the rankings.
Yeah.
What did we think of the condition of the golf course when we could look up and see what was going on?
Yeah, I mean the condition was pretty good. I think it's still early in the year, right? So it was still only April when we were playing. So I think for that time of year, I think the condition was pretty good, to be honest. I think it'd been billed as having some of the best greens in certainly England, if not the UK. I'm not quite sure they quite stacked up to that for me. Having played Hillside a couple of weeks before, I think there was in much better condition, I think, from a greens perspective. I think generally outside of that, I think it was a pretty well conditioned course. It was pretty good looking.
Do you think? Yeah. Do you think that was on quality of greens, surface wise or challenge wise? I'm not sure. It's difficult sometimes because sometimes people don't qualify the comment, do they?
I mean, there's some great slopes on the greens at Burnham. Some
unbelievable.
You had some really, really tricky putts. Even if you kind of put it into a decent place on the green, you can still end up with a really difficult putt. So I think that in terms of that challenge, sometimes you get on links courses and they can just be really flat, the greens, but it definitely wasn't like that. There's a lot of undulations. And I think that kind of that flows through all the way through the course, doesn't it? From green to fairway to tees. It is an undulating course, and there's lots of humps and hollows and mounds, which is great kind of links experience, and there's lots of little chips and bump and runs and stuff that you need to play around the greens to be able to kind of get close. So yeah, I like that about the greens in terms of the challenge. I just think the condition probably wasn't quite at some of the levels that we've played elsewhere. We've played Hillside, we've played Wallasey recently. I don't think it was just quite at that level that those two were at, if I'm honest.
Yeah, those greens, undulation wise, could make you look very silly very quickly, couldn't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
There was one notable moment, and I'll get to it maybe. Oh no, let's do it now. There's one notable moment. So day one on our society ended up being 3.5 points each, and we had to do something cool. We had to pick a wild card or a joker, we called it, I think. And that person, basically, if they won their match, they got an extra point, but if they lost, they got a minus point, which will come back to haunt me a bit later. But I picked myself as the joker because I was up against Harbs, who was my opposing captain, and I was like, if you're going to do it properly. Right, let's do it. Anyway, I'd had a stinker for 6 holes, so I was 6 down after 6 holes. And then suddenly the heavens cleared and I started playing, and I'd clawed it back to, I was just 1 down on the 16th green. And I 4-putted from not too far away, but I 4-putted in my absolute stupidity, not realizing what score I was on and what Harbs had done. So actually, the fourth of my putts was really close, and I was just like, I've got 2 putts to win this hole. So I thought Harbs had a different score. What I should have done was asked him what he was down for, and then I just didn't do it. And then he went, "Oh, that was a 6 or whatever, or whatever it was I'd done." And then I was like, "No, it wasn't." So we had this whole discussion on the transition to the next tee, and I was like, "Oh no!" And do you know when that penny drops, and you go, "Oh, you idiot! If you'd have just thought for a second, you could have got it all square on that going into the last 2 holes, which would have been epic, absolutely epic." So, yeah, that was. But they can make you look that stupid that quickly. So you got to really concentrate
definitely
on those greens.
Yeah.
And what do you know? What I did like when I did start playing well and taking the course in properly and all that kind of stuff. I enjoyed the variable lies. You were always on an angle.
Yeah.
There was very little that was flat, and I enjoyed the different shot. I'm getting into this shot making thing.
Yeah.
Actually.
I mean, that's what links golf's about, right? So I think, that's kind of. I think that's probably part of the reason that it's up there in terms of the rankings, isn't it? It's not the most visually stunning. I mean, obviously we couldn't see any of the views or anything because it was so cloudy and wet, but didn't feel like the most visually stunning course layout. But yeah, in terms of a challenge of golf, it's right up there. I think that's one of the tougher links courses we've played. So I can see why it hosts a lot of the big amateur events there, because that is a stern test of your golf for sure. Like you say,
you can see why they do open qualifying and
which
stuff.
which isn't particularly easy. Once you're there, you've still got a real challenge to kind of get down for sort of 1 or 2 putts. So yeah, it's a proper challenge of your golf around Burnham and Berrow for sure.
Yeah, and I would say as an overall sort of snippet of the course, I would look. Got to again do the caveat of the front 9, back 9, weather changing, whatever. But I felt the back 9 was the one that really kind of got my juices flowing.
Yeah, I think so.
Visually off the tee, and I really enjoyed that back 9. Like, it's a difficult back 9, that it really is, and it helps that I scored really well. When I had this moment going on with Harbs, and it was like, I was like, I got to 7. It was funny because I got to the 17. I just went, I just said to him, look, when you're 6 down, you can say whatever the hell you want, right? So I just went, I've seen matches lost from this situation, mate. Yeah. And then I clawed one back, and it started becoming a thing. It was like this momentum was growing. But I really enjoyed that back 9. I thought that there was some really good quality golf in there, which I think, let's maybe do some overall stuff, and then we'll get into our top 3 holes. I think it's really interesting, some of the holes we've picked there. The par 3s. What did you think of the par 3s, Chris?
Yeah, I thought the par 3s.
You're our par 3 expert.
We're really good, actually. To be fair, I think again, all a kind of real challenge. So hitting the greens wasn't particularly easy. You know, I think especially the ninth, is that one of the MacKenzie ones, I think? Where you've
Ninth, the
got like
MacKenzie, yeah.
6 bunkers surrounding it. It's a reasonably sized green, so you can have a little bit of a go at it, and it's a reasonably short iron in. But like you
That was
missed.
particularly strong, that par 3.
Yeah,
I really
I like
liked
that.
it.
I like that hole. It was a really good hole. So yeah, again, they were all a real challenge. It wasn't an easy set of par 3s, but a really good, strong set of par 3s, I think.
Yeah, a lot of them. The 16 was strong, I thought. 16 was the one that was, 17, sorry, not 16, 17. It's the penultimate hole.
Yeah.
It's a long par 3.
Yeah.
There is a backstop, so it's quite good, actually, even if you do manage to shoot it. But again, there's elevation change in there.
Yeah.
The green and the tee are level, but like there's a big dip, and that's always deceptive. It's club choice. You've got to trust the number, really. And I thought 14 was a cracking par 3, and that was like, but it was like on a tabletop, and it all fell away.
Yeah, and we'll come to that, but that's one of my favourite holes I think that we played. It was
great golf hole, that. But I thought the par 3s were really strong.
Yeah.
You had to be on your game for that. How did you do in your quest for a top 100 hole in one, Chris?
So we kind of mentioned earlier that I was playing against Toby, the sort of Welsh #1, and I don't know whether that had a bit of an impact on my game or whether my swing, I just could not swing my golf club. I couldn't get anywhere near the ball. Everything was going right, Nish. Like I never hit anything right, and everything was like going nearly out the shank, going massively right, and I couldn't get on top of it all day. So I had a real struggle. Like you know me. Normally with my irons, like my irons are all right. Like sometimes my driver's a bit wild, and my putting can be off, but normally my irons are reasonably steady. But I couldn't hit anything, so I had a real struggle, to be honest, around there, which probably didn't help my review either. So I'm not even sure. Did I hit one of them? I think I might have hit one of the par 3s. I think I hit the 9th. I think I was the only one I hit, and it wasn't particularly close.
That's a tough day, mate.
So yeah,
that's a tough day.
Not a great showing from me, to be honest.
Oh, that's a shame. So what you're saying is I've just got to turn into the Welsh #1, and then that'll put you off your
game. Yeah,
put you off your game. Okay. Well, look, we're it's. I think this is a great little thread, because you can see that it does sharpen up your game. But yeah, okay. So par 3s are good. Now let's get to our top 3 holes. I think let's discuss that. So should we do one each?
Yeah, sure.
And then we'll do it that way. Do it a little bit differently. So what's your first top 3? Oh, no, actually, we'll do it as a 3.
Okay.
Go on. It helps me with my editing later, Chris.
Sure. So I think the first hole for me is actually the first, which is unusual. I really tough, and I played it terribly, like absolutely monumentally terribly. But I think as an opening tee shot, it's a great opening tee shot. It's quite intimidating, and you've got like 3 or 4 different options that you can play. You can get your driver out and have a blast kind of down the left-hand side of the bunker. It kind of gets quite narrow up there, though. You can just get an iron out and have a little go short of the bunker, but then you've got kind of a long blind shot in for your second. Yeah, and I just duffed mine and topped it in front of everyone, which was a good start to the day. My golf continued in that vein for the rest of the day, to be quite honest. But what an opening hole! Like, I mean, one of the hardest opening holes that I think we've played so far. Certainly one of the hardest tee shots.
Yeah, it had a feel of the second at Gullane for me, and I really liked that hole. It wasn't quite as sort of valley narrowish.
Yeah.
But that kind of the lead up to where the green was and all that kind of thing, it was in like almost a punch bowl sort of effect. And
no, I really like that.
It was
really like that as an opener. It's not even a long hole. It's less than 400 yards from the yellows. In fact, even from the blacks, it is. So it's not a long hole, and you can hit an iron off the tee if you want to.
It feels like it's not the modern way to have a smack you in your face.
Yeah,
here's your first hole. Welcome to Burnham Berrow.
Hit your first shot of the day right, otherwise it's going to be a tough second, basically. I had a tough second and a tough third, I think, as well, to be quite honest. But yeah, great opening hole. I thought great opener.
Wonderful.
Really.
What's your second one then?
So my second is the 10th hole. So it was a bit of a coin toss between the 9th and the 10th for me.
A coin toss? What's a coin toss?
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
It's been a long weekend.
It's been a long weekend, mate. A coin toss.
I like it though.
A coin toss between the 10th and the 9th and the 10th. But I put another par 3 in later, which we'll come to. So I kind of went with the 10th. you know me, I love a short par 4 and I love a blind tee shot. So they kind of ticked a lot of boxes for me, that one. So again,
That was the definition of it, wasn't it? Really,
yeah,
if you
blind
could
tee shot.
design an archetypal.
It's quite again, it's quite an imposing blind tee shot, isn't it? It's one of those ones that's just kind of like big ridge in front of you. It's quite close to the tee box, so you kind of got to get it up and over. You don't need to hit a driver off there. You can hit, I think, a 5-wood or a 3-wood or whatever, and you've got a fairly generous fairway behind it. So it's not the most difficult shot, but because it's blind, it just feels that bit more difficult. But yeah, nice little dogleg round to the right. But yeah, like I say, short par 4 with a blind tee shot. I'm a happy boy.
I bet if you'd have seen what I'd have seen, you might not have picked 10. And
Oh, right,
I
okay.
saw 3 separate groups clambering up the hill, hacking up the hill.
Oh, right, okay.
And it was just like, they've not even made it over that bit.
Okay.
But it's interesting, that hole, actually, because we had some members playing behind us, and so we were like, do we hit drive here? And they were like, well, the drive might be a bit big, but it depends. If you're swinging it easy, then it's probably a good play because it'll go a decent amount and it'll leave you a very short iron or wedge even into the green. But they're like, we usually play an iron. Like, okay, fine. We all took driver because it was like, right, let's just do it. But it was dead interesting. Like, because obviously we'd seen all these things going on, and when we had the drivers in our hands, they were just like, we're not sure about this. But actually, it does open up quite a lot. I think there's this fear of like, you've got. You're going to run out of fairway or whatever. But listen, I'd rather run out of fairway at the other end and be in a bit of rough than be this side and be on the hill. But yeah, that was a challenging tee shot.
Yeah, good, tough short par 4. Yeah, enjoyed that hole.
So you've gone with 2 very tough holes for your opening tee shots for your first top 3 holes. Yeah.
To be fair, I think the third one is also a tough one. But I mean, I think a lot of the holes around Burnham are tough golf holes. There's no kind of like shooing birdies around there, is there? I think if you're getting a birdie around there, you've worked for it, I think. And the next hole is the 14th, which was the kind of middle distance par 3 rather, playing up onto a hill. And the green kind of looks ledge-like, doesn't it? But you've got a big drop-off down the left, and you've got kind of drop-offs down the front, and reasonably big green. It's quite long, but it's not particularly wide. But if you miss left, it's a really tough chip. This was the first shot that Toby hit something that wasn't exactly where he wanted to, and he missed the green to the left. I was like, brilliant, get in.
Oh, that's a good shot. Good place for him to be.
Yeah, it had bounced down quite a long way from the green as well. I was like, great, he's got a really tough chip here. And then he chipped it to about 4 foot and knocked it in.
Welsh number 1.
I was like, finally,
there you go.
A sniff of a chance. And then he just,
I've got a chance.
Up and down. No dramas.
Yeah.
But yeah, a great hole. I think if you hit a good shot, you've got a good chance. You've got a chance of a birdie there. If you're slightly offline, you're going to have a tough up and down. And not a bunker in sight. It's a links par 3 to be made at such a tough hole without any bunkering, I think is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was a good hole. That I did enjoy playing that one. Oh, that's nice. I've got my one story about the 14th. I can't let you have your top 3 without hogging your top 3 with my story. But so we'd been given the little slip of paper that tells you where the pin positions are.
Yeah.
And up to now, whenever I've been given that, it's been like, thank you very much. Folded, put in my pocket, gone, never thought about it. Will, who I played with, used it, and I learned how to use it with him. So
you never used one of those before?
Never used it before. And the first time, so I've always just used my watch, like front, middle, back, whatever. And you're like, okay, I've got an idea roughly where it is and rough yardage. I mean, like, the exact yardage almost doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
But that hole is where it made sense to me, because that hole, it is a long green, and visually when you look at it, it looked quite narrow, and then obviously you're worried about the tabletop thing.
Yeah.
And we used that because then we were like, right, well, the pin is there, and it was 2 clubs difference. With where the pin was and what we were going with and how much room there was on the back.
Yeah.
And obviously, as a result of using that, I absolutely nailed my tee shot, because I think it's a psychological thing, isn't it? You get the comfort of like, well, actually,
you've got a plan.
Short, and short and left, like where the drop off isn't really in play with this club.
Yeah.
Whatever I hit, I can't remember what I hit, but isn't in play with the club. So like, just swing it and see what happens. The worst that's going to happen is you're going to be probably pin high, but left or right. So
I love a good pin sheet.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to keep asking now. And it's like, if there's no pin sheet, it's like, where's the pin placement sheet?
How do you
That
expect me
kind
to
of
play
thing.
in these conditions?
How do you think I'm going to maintain my 17.7 handicap?
Well, I think I used
ridiculous.
mine for the first like 3-4 holes, and then it was just too wet, and I was like, I can't be bothered to get it out. It's just sodden.
See, you don't carry anymore. You carry now again. You see, that's where my trolley came in handy because I had it in the little thing. So even Will, because he lost his, he was like, "Oh, can I have a look?" It was like trolley. Wonderful. I think they're three. Actually, it says a lot that you've picked the three. Like if you pick three really challenging tee shots, I think that says what gets your juices flowing there, mate. Right, let me start with mine. So my first one was the third hole. So I picked an early one, and I picked an early one on sort of count back memory.
A lot of countbacks going on this weekend.
I sort of did it on count back. Now I didn't, like I said, I was on 6s and 8s and whatever. But let me just quickly see why.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we played those again, I think those first 5 holes, I think are probably a really strong opening 5 holes.
Yeah, I felt there was a little patch.
First 6, to be honest.
I'd probably say that maybe the first 4/5.
Yeah.
I think that little patch in the middle of 5, certainly 6, 7, 8. That was the weakness of that golf course for me.
7 and 8, I think were probably definitely the weaker holes. Yeah.
Yeah, 7 and 8 definitely, and I don't know 5 was. I know 5 you had the from the tee you got the view of the estuary,
3, wasn't it? So that's good.
It was a par 3.
Yeah.
Oh, so 6 gives you the view of the estuary, I think.
Yeah.
But even that, the hole for me wasn't good. Or wasn't up to standard with the rest of the course. There was definitely that patch in the middle. But I loved hole 3, and now I'm even though I've only done this morning, I can't remember why I loved hole 3. But I loved it. Oh no, now I remember it. You'd sort of teed up; it was a bit elevated.
Yeah,
and then the hole sort of turned it dog-legged a little bit to the left.
Yeah, that's right.
And then the green is a bit to the right, and it's in like a punch bowl.
Yeah.
And it was like a blind approach, which I quite liked. I like a blind approach. Let's say the tee shot, I like a blind approach nowadays because it's like a pick a spot, aim for that. You're not thinking of a target or anything like that. It's an area you're going for, and I like that. And I thought that was a really visually nice hole. It was tanking it down at the time, so we were struggling to figure out where to go and whatever. Yeah. But as I was walking it, I liked that dip down, turn, that elevation change. That really worked for me. So I really like that hole. It's interesting we've both picked a hole from the front 9, actually, considering that. But I suppose it wasn't raining when on the first when you went off, was it?
No, it wasn't. No,
from second. So the next I've picked is hole number 9, which is our old mate, Dr. Alister MacKenzie's par 3. That, when as an intro then to the back 9, it's like the doors fly open to that back 9.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
quite an interesting pace, and also because you played, I'm going to put in inverted commas, the sort of the weaker holes in 7 and 8, or 6, 7, 8. I think that is suddenly like wham, I'm back at Burnham. Yeah, this is great.
You're out on the sea, on that tee box as well, aren't you? You can see right over the estuary there. It's good.
I mean,
good little viewing point.
Again, I had the privilege of seeing 3 groups, and they were all on the tee taking pictures. So top tip, go and get your pictures on the 9th tee. But that par 3 is stunning, and it's a big old hit as well. So I think you've got to be on your game to score well on that one. I think there's a big bunker right at the front. It's like it drops off at the front, and there's a big bunker to catch your ball, and there's quite a few people in there.
Yeah, so. I mean, they've got 6 fairly decent sized bunkers littering the surroundings of that green, isn't there?
That's it. Yeah. Then I've picked 15. Now 15 for me was all about the tee shot, and you're looking at the hole, you're elevated again, and the hole kind of curves round to the right, but all you can see from the tee is just loads of hills, like overlapping hills, and that's it. There's no discernible like that's where the fairway starts or anything like that. So me and Will were like, right, where do we go here, and like, what yardages, whatever. I mean, one of the reasons I liked it, a bit of bias about your play, I stonked my drive right down the middle, and it was like, oh yeah, that felt like really good to send it out into this space, and it's like, yeah, it's ended up really well. But I really loved that hole. and the approach then to the green. Again, greens in the back 9 in particular, I thought were really undulating and challenging, and that was a lovely visual hole. Again, high up. We turned around, got a picture, all that kind of thing. So it was a good spot that for me, 15. And I must mention 12, which is called Church. I don't think it's a particularly challenging hole. You're not in dunes, but you kind of got these banks on both sides. So it's a sort of a narrowish tee shot. Actually, no, it's not a narrow tee shot, but it's like it's a good drive. You've got to be accurate with it. But that church in the background, when
it's a nice little,
you're approaching,
nice little enclave of the course, that isn't it? I like that bit around there.
It was stunning. I got a good picture of it, and it was great to see that. So I really enjoyed hole 12. So it's not in my top 3 as such, but definitely an honourable mention for that. And it was a lovely little touch. So let's talk about how we ended up with our side bets and signature hole challenge, Chris. So we'll do the signature hole challenge first. I have a quick question for you.
Okay.
It was stroke index 8.
Right.
Which is the 18th. It's stroke index 8. Now, you're off what? What are you off? What's your handicap now? 11, is it? And I'm 17.7. So do you get a shot?
I do,
on the stroke index 8?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So we both get a shot on that? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. In that case, we tied it.
No,
we both shot a 5.
Both shot a 5.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out whether there was a technicality, and I might have won that one, but no. Alas, I remain 1 down in the signature hole challenge. But great finishing hole.
Yeah, great finishing hole. Tough finishing hole. For sure.
Tough finishing hole. Yeah. Hard tee shot.
Yeah.
Like long second shot.
In.
Yeah, and actually, as far as the greens went, that was flatter.
That was a bit flatter, actually. Yeah.
And but it was smaller, so it was like, okay, right, got to kind of, hit this one. But yeah, great, and well, we've not had an 18th finishing signature hole for a while, but yeah, that was good. I really enjoyed that. Then our side bet. So our side bet set from Jim, because we were doing a Ryder Cup weekend, was whoever contributes the least number of points.
Okay.
So shall I tell you a tale? Well, let's go to maybe day 2. So day 2, we were paired together.
Yeah.
Well, I paired us together, sorry. So I paired us together, and we were playing match play.
Yeah.
Which we somehow conspired to draw, to tie.
I mean, we
on the last
2 up with 2 to play.
2 up, 2 to play, and we tied it. That was, but we both had a stinker on an individual holes. You on 17, you need to use your drive, and me on 18, I had to bogey it. Probably that was it.
Yeah,
would have been enough.
Smash one into the outside fence.
Yeah, so that was a half each there.
Yeah.
Day 1. So we know now. You know you played Toby.
Yeah.
And Toby won. Yeah. And I played Harb, took on the captain, and I won. And I lost, sorry. So we have contributed half each. So in theory, this is tied in theory.
But
however,
you were
as I said,
yeah,
my boldness, my brass neck to go and say that I'm going to be the wild card meant that I got -1. So I ended up on -0.5 points contributed to the team, and you got half. So
boom.
Yeah, you win the side bet, mate. Which what I will say is that we didn't know this at the time, I suppose, but what I will say is that the forfeit was that it was a shot of the winner's choice for the loser to be consumed at the weekend, and that's over now. So we're done. We're done. We're through it all now.
I think you probably consumed enough shots anyway, Nish, without any input from me.
Yeah, I didn't need to do that. Yeah.
Just so you know, if it had been the other way around, if you'd have won and got an extra bonus point, there's no way I would have accepted that as you winning the match play.
That's fair enough. But I mean, the thing in my head was,
I'm totally going to accept it the other way around, though.
I've got to say, the thing in my head was, though, I was like, number one, I'm playing their captain. Yeah. Like, that's like gotta go. And actually, that was one of the things that was really helping me ramp up the pressure on Harbs as we were going through. So I've seen these turn around, or imagine getting your -1 because you like whatever, or me getting an extra bonus point because I've pulled this amazing comeback. Yeah, and I was like, imagine being able to just go, yeah, that's what did it, and actually that would have won us the the whole weekend.
Yeah,
So,
it would have.
oh well, comme si comme ça, as the French say. Does Burnham and Berrow get into your top 5, Chris?
I think like we've said, it was kind of a difficult one to judge in the context that we played it in. But I don't think it gets into my top 5 currently now.
I would echo all of that. Totally see why it's a top 100 golf course.
Yeah.
But it isn't in my top 5. I would probably say I don't think it's a 62 either. Look, I'm wary of it sounding like I'm bagging Burnham Berrow out, and I really am not. I just sort of look and I think Hankley Common's 58, and that's in my top 3.
Yeah.
Gullane is 64, 65, and that's in your top 3.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's up there with those.
No, I tend to agree.
Overall, but it very much has its merits, and I will say this: I would like to go back and play it. Which,
do you know what?
If we didn't like it, and
I was thinking about this the other day, Nish, and I think we came off West Lancs with a kind of similar feel, didn't we? And I think again that's a really hard links golf course. So I think that probably plays into it a little bit in terms of our view of it. I think, especially in those conditions, it's a tough all day around the links course. I think sometimes that can leave you feeling a little bit battered and bruised. But like you say, if you play that in different conditions, you're playing it in the sun, I think you probably have a different view of it. I think.
Yeah, you'll have a great day out, and look, we aren't very early. We ditched our attempts at trying to rank some of these courses because we were like, we can't actually do that. We can just go with what we think is our favourite. We can't rank 100 of these. It's hard enough to do 5. But that should give you, if you're Burnham and Berrow and you're a member at Burnham and Berrow or anything like that, we aren't. This isn't us going, we don't rank it, all that kind of stuff. This is us saying we did get weather that wasn't great, and that we're just average Joe golfers, and that does play a part in how we view the course. But I think to say, both of us said it, and both of us said it in meetings, but if we want to go and play it back again, I think that does speak volumes of the quality of the golf course.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because I'd probably like to go and play West Lancs again, but I didn't have that feeling after I played West Lancs. I was like, I don't really want to necessarily go back.
Yeah.
And again, that's not backing out West Lancs. Again, don't at me.
Yeah.
But it's. I do feel like it would be great to go and play there on a nice sunny day and
for sure.
Test it out again.
Yeah.
So we're going to end with giving you our 3 reasons to visit Burnham and Berrow Golf Clubs. Number 1 is the par 3s, particularly strong on this course. They're a great challenge. They're going to make you think on the tee, certainly. But use your little pin position sheet, and I think that will help you decode it a little bit more. And that's something I've taken away from playing Burnham and Berrow this time. It's amazing, isn't it, what you pick up sometimes when you're going around. But they're a great challenge, and particularly, as we've mentioned, the 9th and the 14th are great. Like they're amongst the great par 3s that we've played. I think they stack up there. Reason number 2 is the humps and hollows and undulations. And I said to Chris in our little warm-up chat before that I really started enjoying this shot making challenge now and playing off different lies and what have you, and getting your brain engaged a little bit more in what you're doing. I think that helps in a couple of ways, even if you're having a stinker, because you're thinking sometimes, you think of, well, that was my intention, that's what I was trying to do. I've left it short, but it's gone how I wanted it to go. I think that keeps you engaged in the round and keeps you positive about what's going on. But what a test. You can see why it's an open...
Yeah. Absolutely. You can
open qualifying venue.
All those, big amateur events there, because that's a test for anyone, I think, playing around there for sure.
Yeah, and I must say that I spoke to a couple of members in the clubhouse who were all lovely, by the way. They were amazing, all the members, and it was 2 lady members who were in there. They were having their afternoon tea. It was wonderful. I was taking a picture of a trophy, and then they sort of were asking me why I was taking a picture, what I was doing, all that kind of thing. And one of them had their name on one of the trophies, which was amazing. But they were so effusive about how Lovely it was to hear from Justin Rose that he said this is one of his favourite courses. So I thought I must bring that out, and I must bring out their chat with them. But I can see why, especially with those humps and undulations.
Yeah.
And then reason number 3 is that church on 12, and that blends into 13 as well. That is not something we've seen anywhere else. It's a great little unique selling point, I suppose, for Burnham, but really helps you get a feel that club is like rooted in the community. It's rooted in that village. It's at one with where it is. And I got that feeling from Burnham. It's just it's comfortable in its skin, and it's comfortable with where it's at.
Yeah, it's very kind of natural, isn't it? It doesn't feel like it's been kind of built up or bastardized in any way. It just feels like it's a proper traditional Old Links, isn't it? It's been there for 100 or so years, and feels like it's probably not really changed that much over that time.
I feel it was totally unforced and just effortless at Burnham Berrow. And then, they've been doing this, and they have been, I suppose, for decades, and effortlessly doing it for decades. So it was a lovely, peaceful day, and we had a thoroughly enjoyable time there. Anything you'd like to add as closing remarks, Chris?
I guess just a big thanks to everyone who kind of came down for the Society Day. So 20 of us went down. What a weekend we had. Yeah, I think it wasn't necessarily just about the golf, was it? It was about all the other good stuff around it. But yeah, we had a great fun. Like I said, it was a really close match. So yeah, but yeah, I think everyone had a good time.
And we'll stick a little plug for our society on there. It really was a great weekend. We're not just saying that because we run it, but everyone said they had an absolutely brilliant time. We thoroughly enjoyed organising it, and we'll pop a link it's totally free to join. We'll pop a link in our descriptions. The next event is at Lindrick on the 2nd of October, who have been great with us again. And I think we've only got about 5 spaces left for that now. So if you're interested, please sign up. Let us know. Drop us an email, I think is the way to go about it. And we'd love to have you along to share the wealth of another Top 100 golf course.